I think we are either live or going live. According to my computer, Geraldine, it says setting up your meeting for Facebook Live. But sometimes it tricks me and it sets it up. So this is interesting.
And mine says meeting is now streaming live on Facebook.
Okay, but why? Okay, so now I just turned off my sound. Did you hear that? So it
I
like,
still hear you.
oh, but if I turn off my sound, I can't hear you. All right, people, just everybody be patient. I have to mute it on Facebook. Ah, here it is. So it's all technology. All right. So I
Mhm.
fixed it. I just fixed the technology because what happens when you go live using Zoom on Facebook is that I can now hear the video on Facebook,
Oh, that would be
which is a little
distracting.
distracting because I'm talking and then I'm talking. So
Good.
anyway, hopefully people are seeing us and hearing us. Um, Please post in the chat if you are with us and can hear us. I am Donna Lyons and I'm here with Geraldine Carter talking about pricing for profitability, which I'm really excited about. I don't see anyone in the comments yet, but it may just take a second. It looks like we've got about 5 people so far. A few people are here, and hopefully more people will be coming. So, oh, and that's not a ghost, people. That door just opened because I have a dog who likes to join all of my Facebook lives. Okay. Um, so David says it's working great on his end. So David can hear us. So that's good news. And so I assume if David can hear us, other people can hear us. You know what? While we're waiting for a few people to join us, I would ask those of you who are here to just say hi. And one of the questions that Geraldine is going to have is, what kind of a business do you have? So if you could just post in the chat while we're waiting for everyone, tell us where you're located, because I always like to hear that, and what kind of business you have. So, and we'll do that while we're waiting and getting set up. And, you know, if I looked slightly confused when we first started, it's only because all the different technologies for streaming are all different. And I don't see any more comments. So it would be great if more people could comment so I know that we are being heard. So Geraldine, tell me, I'm a weather person. I'd like to hear about weather. So what's the weather like where you are, Geraldine?
Well, this morning there was frost on my window, but now, yeah. But now it's like 56 and beautifully sunny with those nice white puffy clouds, and all the hillsides are green because it just dumped a bunch of rain in the last
Okay.
48 hours.
We're about to get a bunch of rain. I'm in New Jersey and it's been hot and sunny for the past, well, actually, we got a big rainstorm yesterday. Beautiful day today, but the Memorial Day weekend is supposed to be a little cold and rainy, but that's okay.
Yes, that's
So
what it
we
does
have
sometimes.
Vic Kelly is here, and she's a therapist in Canada. And David is, he manufactures dumb waiters in Canada. That's an
Whoa.
interesting, okay, so that's an interesting niche. So, okay, you know what, Geraldine, let's just get started. I'm sure
Yep.
people will keep joining us as we go along. Hopefully they can see the video. Sometimes you have to like refresh your page a few times to find it. Um, so in case anybody here doesn't know me already, I'm Donna Lyons, and I co-founded Pumpkin Plan Your Biz with Mike Michalowicz. And I also started this Facebook group a couple years ago, and we've had just some great conversations and great pumpkin plan conversations in this group. And I'd love to see the way that business owners are supporting themselves. Oh, David says he's not in Canada, he's in California.
Oh.
My bad. Okay. Um, and then Rob is in Memphis and he's a profit first strategist. All right. Excellent. So I co-founded Pumpkin Plan Your Biz with Mike Michalowicz. And what we do is we train business coaches and consultants, business strategists to use the pumpkin plan method, our pumpkin plan growth program, which is based on Mike's second book, The Pumpkin Plan, to use the tools and the strategies in our program to help their clients grow and thrive, their business clients. And Geraldine is one of our strategist extraordinaire, and she has her own fabulous pumpkin plan story. She joined us about a year and a half ago. She pumpkin planned her own business first, and she saw amazing results in her own business and also in her clients' businesses. And one of the things that Geraldine is really passionate about is pricing and helping her clients with pricing, which is why that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I also know that this is a sticking point for a lot of people. And so, Geraldine, what did I forget? I forgot about your podcast, right? So
you just remembered.
Okay. So Geraldine has an amazing podcast called
Smart Strategy for CPAs.
Smart Strategies for CPAs. Awesome podcast. And actually, I loved the one that you did recently with another member of this group, talking all about websites, which is another.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Tina Smith, that was great.
Yeah. With the fabulous Tina Smith, who shares and shares and shares in our group all the time. So yeah, Smart Strategies for CPAs, awesome podcast. Everyone should listen to it. But if anyone here is a business coach or consultant and you're interested in learning more about what the Pumpkin Plan program can do for you, you can go to pumpkinplanyourbiz.com/join and get the information, put in an application, and we're happy to talk to you about certification in our program. Okay, so back to pricing. Geraldine, I'm curious, how many people here do you think struggle or maybe don't feel confident about their pricing?
Probably most, to a degree, if they're here.
Yeah. So if you guys could just write in the chat, either say confident or not confident, I'd just be curious to hear like how you feel about your current pricing strategies. And, you know, while they're doing that, Geraldine, I think maybe we should just, before we get started, I also want to let you all know that there is a handout that Geraldine put together. And there are two ways that you can get that. I actually posted it in the files section of this group. So if you click on more and then files, you should see it. What is it called again? It's like pricing basics or something. Pricing basics
for coaches and consultants. Yeah.
Yes. And so you could go there, or you could go to Geraldine's website, and there is a web page that has it. And it's shethinksbigcoaching.com/pricing basics. And let me see, I might be able to put that right into the feed. So let me just copy that in.
And while you do that, also right at the top, in the interest of redundancy, I put a link to download the PDF if people want to do that. So,
great.
Yeah, so yes. It's kind of everywhere. You should be able to stumble upon it.
Yes. Okay, so you can all access the handout that way. And I guess we should start, Geraldine, just by talking about like, what are the different pricing strategies?
Yeah.
Are there a lot?
So yesterday afternoon, I was at my niece's lacrosse game. My uncle was there. We were chatting, and I told him that you and I had just done the similar version for the Pumpkin Plan Strategists. And he said to me, "So what do you teach them? Is it supply and demand?" And I went, "Oh, we have a lot to talk about, don't we?" Because there's a lot to pricing, a lot more than I think most of us are aware of. Most of us don't get sort of exposure by osmosis to pricing and the different tools that are available. And it seems like this nebulous thing that is, it's like, how do you grab a cloud and get it in your hand? What I want the audience to know is that there are a handful of simple pricing tools that we'll walk through today that you can implement in your business. And once you wrap your head around them, you can help your clients with these same tools. And you don't need to be steeped in psychology or have a PhD in behavioral economics or anything else, certainly not calculus or derivatives. These are really simple tools that you can, I know, few, right?
Yes.
that you can implement right away and start using so that you get the feel for how it works. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. So do
because
you want
simple,
to just
right?
go
Simple and
through?
clear. Yeah. Yeah. So let's start with value pricing because it's the term that gets thrown around the most. And what I tend to hear quite commonly, especially from industries and professions that are shifting out of hourly billing, that anything that's not hourly or cost plus is therefore value. It's sort of like this catch all. And I don't want to say nothing could be further from the truth, but that's not quite it. If that is a vast oversimplification um, that leaves a lot of important granularity out of the picture. So let's jump into value pricing because it's the one that I think is like, it's the largest meal, if you will. And what I think is important to get about value pricing is, well, number one, you're basing it on the value to the buyer. You are not picking a number out of thin air. I mean, there's an element of pulling numbers out of the air, but it really is centered around the value that you help your client create, and then your price is relative to the value that you help create. So the question, of course, becomes, well, how do I know how much value I'm creating for my client? And the answer is, well, you've got to find out. That's your job. And that's part of the process. So the way that we get at value on your client's behalf, on your buyer's behalf, is to ask a series of questions called the why questions. And basically use these three questions or variations thereof variations on those questions to find out why it is that they're coming to you now to solve the problem in the way that you're talking about solving it, right? So the why questions are centered around why me, why now, and why in this manner. So variations on why me are, why do this with me? Why not hire somebody off of Upwork? Why not find someone on Fiverr? Why not get your VA to do it? Why hire somebody expensive to do like me to do this when you could find countless other people to do it? Surely there's a cheaper option. And they'll explain to you why they're not going to Fiverr or Upwork or having their VA do it. And they'll say things like, oh my God, we've tried that and it was a debacle. It didn't work well. The communication was awful. The person was underqualified. They didn't know what they're doing. We need to get this done once. We need to get it done right. And we need to do it that. Now this is our one opportunity. We can't afford to screw around. You go, okay, great, right? So now you're starting to understand why it's important they work with you. And why now? Why not just kick the can down the road for 6 months and see what happens? Is this really a burning problem? I mean, there are lots of problems in businesses. Why not prioritize something else? So you go on like that. And why in this manner? Why do it this way? Why not, in the case of just say web design, why not, again, why not hire somebody off of Upwork? Why not get the book on web design and install WordPress yourself and upload a theme and off you go? Why hire me to design this for you when there are plenty of other ways that you could get the same job done? And they'll tell you like, oh, I don't have time to do it. There's no way. I'm not a technical person. I don't want to be bothered. There are it's too error prone. I've tried it that way. I've screwed up. I made a mess. They'll tell you all the reasons. And you're busy taking notes, at least mentally, and getting a better understanding of why it is that they need to work with you because they're telling you why it's valuable, why they can't do it on their own, and why it can't wait.
Can I just interrupt here? I think that there's a really key point here that I want to make sure that we're not missing, which is the first step in this process is to, whether it's on a sales call or on a, informational call or some other way, to actually communicate with your clients and your prospective clients. So this is like a fact finding, asking questions,
Mm-hmm.
getting to the heart of what your value is.
Mm-hmm.
You can't
Yeah.
do it hiding under your desk.
Oh yeah, no, no. This is like when they email you and they say, "Hey, can we set up a discovery call?" And you say, "Yeah, let's talk next Wednesday at 10." This is the conversation that you begin to have with them to find out why it is that you're even talking, right? So, okay. So like you said, you're not having this conversation over email. You're not, yes, you're not hiding out under your desk. This is a one-on-one conversation with your prospect. Is that what
Yes.
you wanted? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I
And
totally walked
also,
right past that.
yeah, I mean, and that's if you're doing individual pricing, right? Like I'm
Hmm?
pricing per job, let's say.
Yep.
But
Yep.
but the same thing applies if you're looking for I'm going to always price this package the same way. I just have to figure out what that pricing is. You
Yeah.
would still reach out and talk to and get sort of a consensus of all of those things from a whole group of your clients or potential clients.
Yeah. Because like you say, so we're talking specifically about value pricing for discrete projects.
Yeah.
And I didn't say that at the outset, that value pricing in this manner is meant for discrete projects with a clear beginning, a middle, and an end.
Right. So
Right.
like
So
let's say it's
by
an
compared
engagement.
to ongoing relationships.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like a project or an
Yep.
engagement or like something that
Yeah.
like okay, what am I going to charge for this?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
For a finite amount of time, you don't have to define the amount of time exactly because it's the project and the outcomes, but you might have a sense of the time it might take 4 weeks, it might take 6 to 8 months, it might take 18 months, but it's not an ongoing service that you're delivering like Netflix month after month after month that you're subscribed to by contrast.
Yes, got it. Okay.
So what you said, I think is really important, that even if you're not doing a value pricing project, that these questions you can still use them to get at the value to your existing clients if you're trying, or future clients, prospects, if you're trying to shift your services from one price or one pricing structure to another pricing structure. You can always use the why questions, and I sprinkle them throughout my conversations all the time anyways, just to better understand what my buyers are looking for. So these questions are great to use. They're not limited to value pricing projects, but you definitely want to use them if you're going to value price a project. Otherwise, you'll have no idea and you'll just be throwing a dart at a hay bale and hoping to hit a target.
Which I'm sure we've all been guilty of.
Yes. Yep, we've all done that, right?
Yes.
And then we wonder, either we're way underpriced or we price way over and we have no idea. The client walks away, the buyer walks away, and we have
Yeah.
no idea because we never were able to find out what the value was to them. And as a rule, buyers will not pay for something when the value to them, when the price exceeds the value to them. So you've got to find out what the value is. And the opposite danger, of course, is that you don't find the value out and then you price it and you undercut yourself by 200% or something.
Right. And then that could also cause them not to buy because
Yes.
they think why is she so underpriced?
Yes. This must not be good.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Pricing is absolutely a signal and it is a strategy in addition to being a price. So we got the why questions and we got when value pricing for projects is good for. So I'll pause just to give you a chance to see if there are any questions, because sometimes it can be
Um,
a thing to check on the feed.
Aaron
And then,
says, "Yep."
yep. Hey, Aaron.
That's kind of all I see. If anybody has any questions as we're going along, just put them in the comments, and we will try to get to them like as we pause, and we'll try to stop and answer your questions as we go along. But I think at least as far as I can see, so far, no questions. So we can keep going, and I'll keep my eye on that for you.
Okay. This one will generate questions.
Okay,
Menu
I'm looking
pricing.
forward to them.
Yeah, and pricing curves. This one is hard to get your brain around. So menu pricing, many of you have seen menu prices, right? Where you've got the smaller, the bronze, the silver, and the gold. And the idea here is that you want to give your clients what Alan Weiss, who I loved, he wrote an excellent book called Value-Based Fees, and he's written 60 other books, many of which are great. I haven't made my way through all of them. He wrote Value-Based Fees, and he talks about a choice of yeses. And what I love about this concept is that when you give your clients 3 options, not 4, not 6, not 2, that it helps them pin the choices and frame them against each other rather than go to somebody else and compare you to a possible competitor. People want to be able to choose. It gives them a feeling of agency in the purchasing transaction. So if you only give them one price, take it or leave it, they're likely to go, well, let me see what else is out there.
Right.
But if you give them three prices and you say to them, any of these three options will get you to the outcome that we've just spoken about in different ways, you get to choose what's right for you. Now suddenly they're asking themselves a different question, which is not who else do I compare you to, but how do I compare these three options and which one do I want? So it increases your conversion rate, and it enables your clients to make a choice to get to the outcome that they desire at a budget, at a price that is right for them. So you both win. This is good business, right? This isn't debits and credits business where me taking from you is me winning and you losing.
Yeah,
So
and I would love to know if you could just put in the comments how many of the people who are with us today have used menu pricing or are using a form of menu pricing right now. Where basically it's the same general offering, it's just different levels. Correct? Like
yeah,
we're not
yeah.
talking about like, a cup and
Yep, a cup, a plate, and a fork.
and a phone, right? Like it's
Yeah, yeah.
it's
They
sort
all
of
lead
like
to the
a
same.
small, medium, or large cup, maybe.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah. So let's use this in a way of taking the metaphor to a trip across town, right? So you come to me, I'm at the edge of town, and you say I want to get across town, and I say, okay, we've got one option. I've got a Lexus, and I will drive you across town. I'm free in 5 minutes. I'll take you right to your destination. It's 5 miles. The next option down is Toyota. Here's a Toyota. It's clean. It's basically the same car as a Lexus, just not as fancy. And here's a map. There's a GPS in the car. It's plugged in. You drive yourself.
Yeah.
And the next option down is it's a bicycle. It's flat. It's 5 miles. It'll take you 45 minutes. You're on your own, right? All three options, those are all viable. The trip across town with me driving you in my Lexus is 10 grand because I'm busy. I don't want to leave my desk right now. Right? It's 2,500 if you want to drive Toyota, and it's $50 if you want to ride the bike. You decide. All of those options will work. So you want in your menu options for them to all lead to the same destination, right? Not like we were joking about, here's a cup, here's an iPhone, and here's a haircut. Not the same things.
Exactly. Exactly.
So how do you price your menu options? One common mistake that I see is crunching your prices too close together. So it makes it hard to distinguish which price. It makes it hard to separate the options. They look too much like each other. You want there to be the right amount of distance between your options. So there are two pricing curves, so to speak, because we have to do a little bit of math to get at how far apart to spread your options. And the first one we call the Goldilocks curve, because you remember that Goldilocks likes the middle bed. She likes the middle porridge. And the Goldilocks pricing spread drives your client to the middle option. It's priced to make the middle option attractive. So the way that you price it is say that the minimum, let's say the project you determine to be worth $100,000 to the buyer. So it's a reasonable standard, 10%. That's a 10x ROI for your client. They're going to be psyched. So now your job is to determine, okay, what would I offer at $10,000, 10% of 100,000? What would I offer at $22,000? And what would I offer at $50,000? The $50,000 Lexus option is not that appealing to the buyer because that's only a 2x ROI. But 2.2, $22,000, that's a 5x ROI. And the bottom one, $10,000, that's 10x ROI. Those are both great deals. You want to then put inside what your package is, what's it going to be worth to you to do it for $10,000? And you've got to figure out based on your own expertise, because once you set the price, you deliver regardless of scope. So the work now is on you to determine if it's a little bit more than you thought it was going to be, what do you want to include so that it's still profitable to you? and then you price, and then you build your packages and you price accordingly, or you design your packages accordingly.
Can I
Yeah.
interrupt here for a second? I think this is another really good point, that when we're talking about value pricing and the value to the customer, you also do have to consider the value of your work
Mm-hmm.
to you, right? And the
Yes.
value of your time and your resources so that you are profitable. So if
Mm-hmm.
you determine that the value to the customer is $10,000 and you charge them $1,000, but it costs you $1,500, that is not a win-win.
That is not a win-win.
So there has to be that other side of it, right? Where you have to know your costs, the cost of your resources that you use, and your own time, if your time factors into it, or your employees' time, and have your baseline to start.
Yep. Yeah. So you bring up an excellent point. I think we tend to think about price as one spectrum. There are really two spectrums going on, two spectra going on, right? There's the buyers, and the buyer is thinking about, what is this worth to me? They may or may not be price. People say, well, my buyers are price sensitive. People are generally value sensitive more than they are price sensitive, right? And the question is, how much is this worth it to me? And worth it is based on ROI. And there are financial ROIs and other ROIs, time saving, that can also be converted to financial. But so that's one spectrum, right? They're doing their own calculus and you're doing your own calculus. Where am I setting the price so that it is also worth it to me? And worth it to me is defined by your minimum costs plus whatever else that you want to put on it so that it's still worth it to you. And those are two separate spectrums, lines with little sliders on them that you need to slide back and forth, and then get the sliders to both be in a zone where you're both satisfied, so that it's a win-win, and you shake hands and you say, this was a great deal. You both say that. This was awesome. Let's do this again. That's what you're going for. And I
Yeah.
think
And
where people get stuck, I'll just finish and then you can jump in. Where people get stuck is they tend to sell to, especially when we're earlier in our businesses, we tend to sell to people who don't have the buying power that is necessary in order to make it worth it to us. And so we sell underneath what is worth to us.
yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. That we're so focused on who's going to buy from us and will they buy from us, that we forget that there has to be a value to us as
Yeah.
well. And we can't forget that.
Yeah, you'll be reminded.
Yeah, because we
If you
all think we
sell
need,
underneath.
like, that idea of price sensitivity. If you understand the value to your customer, if you have something that they uniquely want and it's a match, then, and it's a customer that can afford to pay you, right? That has to be factored in. Then they will buy from you.
Yeah.
And and if they are not willing to pay the value of what you're delivering, then it's not worth it for you to do that work, because there's an opportunity cost to everything that you do. So if you're doing undervalued work for somebody, you're missing out on work that you could be doing where your work actually is valued. And I will say this, that I've had people, I had somebody years ago was trying to sell me something, and she told me the price. It was a coaching package, and she told me the price, and I was like, oh, I don't know, that's a little much. And she said to me, that's really not a lot of money. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
you didn't show me the value.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have not shown me why I should invest that money in you.
Yeah.
And so we do have to understand the value in order to communicate it. So it has to be worth it to us as the business owner to sell to you, but it also has to be worth it to you to buy from me. And I think that's the art, right? That's the art of finding that just right.
Yeah. And to the just right, that just right could be quite wide, right? A lot of us are like, we ask the question, like, what's the right price for this? And that's a false premise. What is the right range of price for this? It makes it much easier. It takes the pressure off of you to find the exact right thing. right? And now you're just looking to understand what makes it worth it to the buyer. And if the value is not there for them, then you just have a buyer mismatch is all, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to go find, just as if it's that easy, go go and make sure that you're in front of the people who will find the value in what you're doing without judgment about whether or not your product is any good or not. It's just a matter of getting your product in front of the people who value it. Or conversely, figuring out what it is that people really value and then reverse engineering and building the product.
Yeah, and I do also think that a lot of this depends on confidence. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of service providers maybe aren't confident
Mm-hmm.
that they can get a certain level of price, or think, oh, well, who am I to charge that much? Or
Yeah.
like, we tell ourselves stories
Yeah.
that may or may not be true. And
Mostly not true.
right, right. So even if you do start out underpricing, you can start to build your confidence as you see your clients getting high value from what you're
Mm-hmm.
offering. And
Yeah.
you can say, okay, I see this is worth more. And then you feel more confident the next time when you price it more appropriately.
Mm-hmm. You bring up a really important point because confidence is such a huge part of this. So often what I see when I work with my clients is that they are underpricing what they're selling by a long shot. And they will, for example, sell tax and strategy for like $1,000, right? And I come along and we rejigger things and I'm like, all right, go out there, $16,000. And they're like, and they say, they start to sweat and they say, there's like, I can't even though I know that somebody will spend $16,000 because I've seen it. I've seen, 5 other clients go out and sell these things for $16,000, let's just say, but they can't get the words out of their mouth without turning red in front of their
Yeah.
buyer.
You have to
So what
practice.
not you have to practice, and you've got to be able to get the price out of your mouth in the meeting. So if the first one, I mean, I try and help my clients get to a place where they can name the highest price that they're comfortable with, but we've got to just meet. We just have to start where you are, right? And get the price out of your mouth rather than go for something where, in air quotes, ought to be, but it gets caught in your throat on the way out. And you can't even say it, right? That's worse.
It
So
is.
you're better off getting a yes and like actually hitting balls when you're standing at the plate rather than just whiffing for days, months, and years. So
I do find that if you write it down and read it, it helps.
yeah.
Like, then you're not like going, the price, that you just go, the price is
Yeah.
$15,000, or
Yep.
the investment, depending on the kind of business you have. If you
Yeah.
can call it an investment, that's the other thing. I would always, every day of the week, rather call it an investment than a cost or a price,
Yeah.
because an investment reminds them that they're going to get a return on what they're buying. So,
Mm-hmm.
not every purchase is an investment, but I would be willing to guess that a lot of the people here are doing some sort of service that's going to give their clients a return
Mm-hmm.
on that investment, that their client is going to walk away with something of higher value than what their initial investment was.
Yeah.
Um,
And
so go ahead.
even the part of the idea of investment doesn't need to be limited to a financial investment, right?
Yeah.
Like I invested, I don't know, $3.49 in this sippy cup thing, and it has paid dividends for years and years, right? So even though it's given me no financial return, I invest in other things, like I buy a ski pass every year, and I'm investing in my joy being able to play in the wintertime. That's an investment,
Yeah.
even though there's zero financial ROI.
Anything that makes your life easier is an
Mm-hmm.
investment. Yeah, pretty much anything that gives you something back. We do have a few comments. So can we pause here and,
Yeah.
read
Yeah.
some? Okay, so Shannon says that she's on the cliff edge of I think of charging for her services. So she wants to be a paid consultant. And right now what's happening is she answers questions for people, but then never takes that next step, or maybe doesn't know how. She didn't say this, but maybe she's not sure how to sort of take that leap from answering people's questions to saying, I can help you with this on a paid
Mhm.
larger scale basis.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of that transition from like,
Yep.
hi, I'm an advice giver
Yeah.
to I need to get paid for all of my brilliant knowledge can be
Yeah.
difficult for people.
Yeah. So how do you make the transition, right? Is the question,
Yeah.
and stop giving all that advice away for free. So my brain goes back to outcomes. What are the outcomes that people are looking for when they are asking you questions,
Yeah.
advice, answers, right? What problem are they trying to solve? What are they trying to figure out? What are they trying to understand?
Yeah.
So let's just assume that let's pretend that we know that Shannon is a CPA just because I happen to know that world. And they tend to give away a lot of advice for free. And if she's trying to add consulting, which sounds like she's not, but anyways, for the sake of argument, if people are coming to you asking questions, then you say, okay, well, what is it that you're trying to solve in your business? These are really great questions. May I ask you, what is it that you're trying to accomplish? So you don't answer the question, you ask,
Yeah.
why are you asking the question?
Yes. Yes,
And then you
totally.
try, and that gets you into a conversation about outcomes. And then you can say, okay, I work with my clients on these very same kinds of challenges to try and get these and these and these kinds of results. I'm just curious, is that something that do you want to talk about that? Would you be interested in knowing more? And then you position yourself as, okay, now we're talking about about us potentially working together, instead of me just like, because I don't know where the off ramp is to get off of the free advice giving, I'm just going to keep on giving free advice. So that's your off ramp, is why are you asking me these questions?
Yeah. And I learned something a really long time ago that if you don't tell somebody that you have services for sale, they won't ask you.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not going to say to
Yes.
you, "Oh, can I hire you to help
Mhm.
me?" They will be waiting for you to explain what kind of offering you have. And they
Yeah.
could say, yes, I'm interested, or no, I'm not. But if they don't know that you're interested in working with them on a deeper level or on, whatever it is that you do, they're not going to be the ones to initiate. Some people will, some people are just like that, like, oh, can I buy that from you? But for the most part, they're waiting for you to tell them, hey, I can help you.
Mhm. Yeah. It's a great point. People are not lying awake learning about your business.
Yeah.
It's up to it's up to you to be able to listen for so-called buying
Yeah.
signals. The ways that people ask questions, the way that they start to get curious, to listen for those things, and then to get curious back and start a question. And I get that people don't like to be salesy, which I totally get. And I think, take the image of your sleazy salesman, crumple them up and throw it out the window, because there's a way to sell that is purely authentic without being gross, without being pushy.
Can I just tell you a little story about that? First of all,
Yeah.
I used to think that I couldn't sell my way out of a paperback. Like I just couldn't sell for my life. And my first business was a jewelry company, and my partner and I, we designed the jewelry ourselves, and we would go to like craft fairs and we would have home parties and we did, but I would go, I started doing this, and my business partner was like, I don't understand how this is happening. I would go out to lunch, let's say, and the waitress would say, I love your necklace. And I would say, oh, I sell these. And actually, this one is brand new. I just put it on this morning. It's for sale. And literally, I would
Off your body.
off my body all like constantly. I would call up my partner. I'd be like, oh, I sold another bracelet off my body today. But like, I wouldn't just say thank you. I would say, oh, I sell these. Do you
Yeah.
want, like, there was somebody I was talking to. She's like, my sister would love that. It would be a great birthday present for her. And I was like, I can sell this to you. This, and I'm not doing it because like
Mhm.
I need to eat tomorrow. It's because it's actually my business, right? So my point, and nobody ever said, I can't believe you're trying to sell me the jewelry off your body. They were really appreciative.
Yeah,
So
that was the easiest sale ever. I didn't even have to run my
yeah,
credit card.
because what you're doing is you're not out there like running people down in the street saying, buy
Yeah.
what I have. You're
Hmm.
actually answering a need that they
Yep.
have, and you're
Yes.
being helpful. Yeah,
Yes.
not everybody said yes. Like some people were like, no, I'm okay. That was fine. But I sort of surprised myself that I was so comfortable doing that. But I thought I'm the best advertisement for my own business. So if you're giving people free advice, the next natural thing to do is to say, by the way, I work with my client, just like you said, I work with clients on these issues every day. Would you like to set up an exploratory call with me to talk about what's going on in your business and whether or not I can help you resolve some of your challenges? Right?
Yeah,
Like
there you go.
just, and the
Take the,
worst
yeah,
thing they could say is no, not right now, or I'm not
yeah,
interested.
great.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. And the great has to be heartfelt. It can't be like, oh, shoot, right? It's got to be like, okay, I think the piece is really not being attached to what they say, right?
Yes. Yes.
Just
And
putting
that's
it
the
out there,
other
take it or leave it.
piece of putting your pricing out there too.
Mm-hmm.
Not pricing so that you want, like, your only goal is to get the person to buy no matter what.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we could go down that trail. Maybe I'll come back to, I'm going to actually note that down, because from business standpoint, that is a huge sand trap. But maybe
Yeah.
let's, because we got about 20 minutes left, maybe let's zip through the 4 or 5 that are remaining.
Yeah, you know me. I could like zigzag all day. I love
It's
this
all good
topic.
stuff, right?
I
It's
love
all
this
good
topic.
stuff.
So yeah, let's go through some of the other pricing strategies.
Okay, so where we left off was Goldilocks pricing menu curve. And I'll just briefly mention might as well, because you can do the math, but might as well pricing drives the buyer to, well, if I'm gonna, it makes them think about it this way. Well, if I'm going to do the first one, I might as well do the middle option. If I'm gonna do the middle option for another, 2,500 bucks, I might as well do the Lexus option. So it's called might as well because it drives them to the biggest option, the most expensive option. So you want to design your packages accordingly, depending on how badly you want the client and which option you want them in. So there's again, strategy involved in that. That doesn't need to be like astrophysics strategy. It's just like which package do you want them in, and design it as such, right? Okay, so flat rate, fixed fee. This is a really, when people, especially for people who are going from hourly to getting off of hourly, the easiest place to start is with flat rate or fixed fee. I don't care what you call it. And it works really well for stuff you know inside and out, for stuff you could do all day in your sleep. It's a series of mouse clicks. You know how to do it. You have a great understanding of the scope. It pretty much stays contained. And it's like, whether it's sunny or windy out, you know how to do it. Doesn't matter. So compared to projects, which, who knows what's going to happen in a project. So getting off of hourly is the place to go. The place to start is flat rate, fixed fee. And it works great for productized services, by which I mean stuff like assessments and diagnostics, which can be enormously valuable, right? For somebody to understand what's going on, why their business is broken in some manner. Roadmaps, blueprints, right? Like if you want to do a high level strategy and then give people all the information they need, they can go implement on their own. I wrote this for my audience, accountants and CPAs. So QuickBooks setup, cleaning, and training, which is not going to apply to everybody here. Most people are like, I need that from somebody else. Half-day workshop. If you sell expertise and training, that's a great flat rate thing that you can offer. So
And you
pretty
can,
straightforward. Yeah, go
and
ahead.
can I just say something like that? You can offer bonuses that you create once and include over and over again.
Yeah, you can make the thing more valuable over time with no extra effort.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
meant to say.
I'm reading your cards.
Yeah.
Okay, so subscription, I want to touch on subscription because of what's happening out there in the economy. There was a great book that came out 2 years ago by Tien Zuo called Subscribed, where I'm basically kind of not cracked the code, but really surface this, the subscription economy, what's going on with it, how it's being used. And the basic idea is giving your clients the thing that they value in your service, but not the whole thing, right? I want to buy the milk, but I don't want to buy the cow, right? So deliver milk once a week to my door, subscription. but I don't want the whole cow, right? So that's how we've gone from Adobe and buying Photoshop and installing it on your computer to having a creative suite in the cloud where you subscribe and pay, I don't know, $19 a month, and you have access to Adobe Creative Suite. And that was a big business model shift that happened, I don't know, 2014 or something. So where this is all headed and what people are finding is that subscription businesses are growing something like 8 times faster than the S&P 500 compared to businesses, or what I should say is subscription businesses are growing 8 times faster than traditional business model businesses, where you've got to continue to create products and push them out to market. So there are a lot of businesses that are trying to figure out, how do I do subscription in my business? It's really great for if you have knowledge IP that you can just, you create the knowledge, you create the IP, you load it to the cloud, and people subscribe to it and they can get as much access to it as they want, or however you want to gate it. It's great if you have built a community, which is a reason to pumpkin plan so that you narrow who you work with. Then you have a great service for them, and then you build a community comes to you. You build it almost by accident. I mean, it's like part of the design, but it also just kind of happens. And now you've got a community and they want to connect. And the value of those connections could be enormous to them. It could even surpass the value that you provide in your actual service, which is a little bit humbling, but it's true. Courses are great for subscriptions. Ongoing monthly coaching you could put on subscription. So you can think about the monthly recurring revenue that generates the loyalty, and that you can scale it really nicely, and you can keep adding value, like Donna, you were saying, with minimum work, right? By adding evergreen content.
Yeah.
So keep that one on your
Again,
radar.
that high value to your clients, to your subscribers, and high value to you,
Yep.
because, you know, the more subscribers you have, the more profitable that becomes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and it's predictable revenue, right? And you've got the cash up front. So now you know how much cash you have to be able to invest. So it can smooth things out in your business. And consider the clients that you work with. Think about their business models and if this might be a fit for them. And you don't have to take the whole business over to subscription overnight. You can just add an arm, a model, a service that is subscription. And I'm doing it in my business with a subscription membership for people who don't want one-on-one coaching, but they want access to, how to transform their accounting practice.
Yeah. And Adam actually asks, I think, a good question, which is, do you ever see times when a subscription service might detract from the focus of the business? So it has to be the right subscription service, right?
Yeah. You don't want it to cannibalize your main service.
Right.
Right.
It should
So,
be an enhancement
yes.
or a step ladder, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So you bring up let's bring product ladder is in, right? Because for people who don't know what a product ladder is, you want to think about the outcome at the top of the ladder, and then different ways to get different ways, like people getting on at different rungs at a price point that's comfortable for them. So similar to menu pricing in that all paths lead to the same outcome, product ladder might be 25 grand for your Lexus option, and then 2,500 for a roadmap, 250 for a course that teaches you everything you need to know, and $25 for the ebook that has it all written out. It's all the same content, just delivered in a different format at orders of magnitude of pricing, so that it's clear to the buyer, like, I'm definitely not spending 25 grand. I might spend 2,500. I could spend 250. 25 is a no brainer, but I probably need 2,500 if I'm really gonna like make a meaningful dent. If I just take the course, I'm never gonna do it by myself. Right. So that helps. The clear pricing that's separated far enough helps your buyer make a decision.
Do you have any ideas about how do you price a subscription service? Like, how do you figure out whether it should be $25 a month or $250 a month
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
25, right? Like,
Yep. Yeah. Ask your buyers. Right. So I did this the other day, actually, because one of my own clients is about to graduate and transition off. And she's like, but I don't want to give up my IV drip of Geraldine every month. And I was like, okay, great. Understood. Right. Ding, 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 ding. Paying attention. I was like, so on the spot, I was like, well, let's talk about this. And I asked her, I was like, what would you want to have in a perfect world? And I tossed out some ideas, and she tossed back some ideas, and she suggested something that I hadn't even thought of. And I was like, okay, so if we did this, 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 and this, like, let's just pretend, right? So here comes the strategy in terms of determining the pricing. Let's just pretend if I could do all of that and I could make that exact thing. I'm just going to throw out a number. It's probably going to be way too high. And then we'll just work back from there. So I threw out a number. I threw out $500, thinking that that was way too high, and she didn't even bat an eye. And I was like, oh, I should have started at 1,000. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And right. And I was like, okay, 250, 150. And she's like, 150. And I was like, okay, how about 200? She's like, yeah, 200 probably. And I was like, so 250 too high? She's like, 250, I'd have to think about it. And I was like, 500. And she's like, yeah, I mean, maybe. But so I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, like 500, like to me, that was like way, way, way high. But it wasn't
Yeah.
for her. So anyways, the point is, toss it out. Ask your buyers and start by saying, let's just pretend, purely hypothetical, if we could give you exactly what you wanted. I'm just going to start way high. I'm being ridiculous. You pin it high and you walk it back, and then you see where they start to engage.
Yeah. Another thing that I've seen people do with these kind of memberships and subscriptions is, in order to get it started, they'll offer like a one-time
Yeah.
like,
Yep. First month is free.
initial, like you're the founding members and you get it at this level, and it's never going to be that price again, but you get it for that price forever, right? And then you
Yep.
get like your base started, and then you grow you see the value to
Yeah.
the people who are already members, and then you create a different level for the next group that you let
Yep.
in.
Yeah. Yeah. So there are a bunch of strategies, and there's quite a bit to it. And for folks who are interested, you can check out the membership guys. You can check out Stu McLaren. I don't know if I should name drop or not, but I am, so might as well keep going. And Flip
Yeah.
Lifestyle are the kind
Yeah.
of are three really well-known players in the space who talk about all these strategies.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you can screw it up and you can burn a lot of time. I mean, not
Yeah.
that there's one right way to do it, but you want to be thoughtful about it and make sure you kind of like plan it out a little bit. I
And
tend
it
to do a
has
quick start. So
and it has to make sense for your business. So there's a conversation going on in the comments right now, because Adam has a custom woodworking business. And he's like, well,
cool.
how would I do a subscription? But he's thinking outside the box, because it sounds like he wants ideas, because he knows that like heating and cooling and electrical, they have subscriptions. I know like we've had for years a membership subscription to our heating and cooling, and we got like certain perks for paying an annual fee. And that doesn't mean that the work that they do is included. It is not. What is included is like an annual, twice a year. Once a year we get a heating checkup, once a year we get a cooling checkup. And then of course, if they find any problems, then we have to pay them to fix it. So it's brilliant. But we get some other perks for doing that, and it makes life easy for us. But I will say this, like maybe there is a way, for somebody in a business like Adam's to create a subscription, but a subscription is not for every business. It's for the kind of business, in my mind, where you're doing a lot of knowledge-based work and a lot of one-on-one, where you kind of feel like you're trading dollars for hours, and you want to be able to scale and say, look, I have this body of knowledge that I can give to everybody in the same way for less of my time. But right. So that's kind of my thinking on that.
Yeah, so those are the obvious ones, right? That are just ripe for being converted to subscription, or having a piece of your business do that. What's tricky, so to me, the jury is out as to, are there business models that don't fit subscription? And the ones where I get stuck are real estate, right? If you only transact on a house once every 10 years, how is a subscription going to work for a real estate agent? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out yet. Right. Same thing with construction. If you're building a house, how are you going to subscribe to the construction company? But there could be other ancillary services that are sort of spun off with what's known that could be subscribed to. So with the woodworking, I'd have to know more about what the product is of the business, but think in terms of, I want the milk, not the cow, or Caterpillar, the big yellow machines that dig dirt. I want this cubic volume of dirt moved. I don't want to buy and service the machines, right?
Yeah.
So it does require
Well,
some outside the box thinking.
and the other question is, and I might know this, but I can't remember, which is who are Adam's clients? Are they
Yeah,
residential
exactly.
consumers? Are they
Hmm.
general contractors? Like, are
Hmm.
you a
Yeah.
subcontractor? Are you doing more commercial work? Are you doing furniture? Are you doing more like construction type? What,
Hmm.
there's so many questions,
Yeah.
so that's a hard question to ask. I mean, answered without knowing all of that. But I don't know that there is an answer, but I do like that Adam is like looking at other industries and saying,
Hmm.
is there a way for me to apply this to mine?
Yeah. Yeah. And maybe there's a way to build, like if Adam's a pro woodworker and he has certain knowledge, maybe there's a way to capture the knowledge that he has and have that be the subscription piece,
But to
right? With
who,
like maybe
right?
he's,
Like if I
well, that's, you got to
hire,
figure out, right?
yeah,
I mean,
like if
so
I hire
here's the thing.
somebody, oh, go ahead. You're the expert. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I mean, the answer to the question, I think, starts with what you are saying, which is who is your customer?
Yeah.
The subscription is built around the question, who is your customer and what do they value?
What do they value and what do they need?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And there is that also the question of like maybe there's a life of the subscription,
Hmm.
right? Like somebody
Sure.
might only join for a year, like not be a,
Hmm.
it might be the kind of subscription where at some point like there's
You've made it to the
no,
end
yeah,
kind of
you've
thing.
made it to the end. I mean, there are a lot of ways you could do that, but you're right, Geraldine. The question always comes back to what is it that the customer wants and needs that they're not already getting?
Yeah.
And is there a way to deliver that as a subscription? So we don't want to, and I think this is a really, really strong point, and it goes right along with the pumpkin plan, which is you don't want to create something just for the sake of creating it.
Hmm. Yeah.
If you want to, like, you don't create something and then say, let me find somebody to buy it. The best, most successful way to create something valuable that you are going to make money at and that your clients are going to say, where do I sign up, is by creating something that is in response to something that they need and want,
Hmm.
period, full stop.
Yep. Yep. And have the buying power to pay for,
Yeah. So, and
because you don't
so
want to sell to people who have an empty wallet.
absolutely. Unless you can help them fill the wallet.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
um,
Okay, let's do segmentation because we're coming up
yes.
on the top of the hour.
Yes.
And I want to respect people's time. So
I have no
segmentation is
respect for
great.
people's time.
I could talk all day. I mean, I
Keep
love
going.
talking with you and doing this. This stuff is so fun.
Yes.
Um, and so segmentation is great for thinking about different. Let me back up. It's just a fancy word for portion or slice or piece of your client roster. So don't get in the segmentation. That sounds so fancy. It's not. This is like the child's game of which of these objects look like the other ones, right? And grouping those ones together and saying, okay, how can I price these ones? Because pricing can get tricky when your client roster, so to speak, when the clients that you work with are disparate, have a lot of variation, either by revenue or by industry or by need. So break it down and find the clients that are like each other in terms of revenue or industry or whatever other common characteristic. And so segment that and then price just that thing. Figure out how to price that appropriately. And then break up another segment of your client base and price those people. So an example is I was working with a CF of like a fractional CFO, and she had her fractional CFO price was, I don't remember, $1,900 a month or something. And she's like, but I'm getting killed on the e-commerce people. It's a great price for the doggy daycares and the yoga studios, but I'm just e-commerce, forget it. I'm losing my shirt. I said, okay, if it's a great price for the doggy daycare, we'll keep them at 1900. Let's take the e-commerce people, let's slice them off and figure out a price just for them. So we worked on it. We figured out a price just for the e-commerce people. So now any new e-commerce people who came in the door came in at her new appropriate price. And then slowly over time, she bumped up her existing e-commerce people up to where they needed to be. Right. And just segmenting her client base in just that way, that simple maneuver solved so many of her problems. Right. So don't think of, if you have clients who have different needs or come from different industries, don't think of them all like the same and apply just one blanket price. Make sure pricing is appropriate for the
Yeah.
client.
Yep. Yes, that's a very, very good point, Geraldine, that, because if a certain group of clients cost you more or take up more of your time, you absolutely should be pricing them differently.
Yeah.
So have we gotten through all of the main,
We've gotten through the main ones. We can
yeah,
do, I think people can, retainer and contingency are pretty straightforward. And I think what I just wanted to call out with retainer is that don't conflate it with the lawyer style prepaid topped up dollars. Advisory retainer is a different thing. Probably most people watching aren't going to be ready yet for advisory retainer. It's kind of a thing that happens after you've worked on a project with a client and they still want to just have access to your brain for a period of time. It's like insurance, where
yeah,
they can call you if random things come up. And then contingency can be good, but it's kind of an advanced thing where if you've got a client and you're really confident in results you can get from them, but they don't see it and they don't want to take the risk, you can lower the risk to them by lowering the price, but then they pay kind of more if and when they're successful. So you share in the risk and you share in the reward and it reduces their risk. So that can work. But I wouldn't start there. I did just want to put it on there because sometimes you just in the interest of sort of complete thoroughness and completion.
yeah. And something that's related to that is, again, if you're really confident in the results that you get, you can give a money back guarantee.
Yeah.
You just have to put a lot of like sort of structure around it.
Yep. I mean, guarantees could be a whole nother Facebook Live. And they're really powerful when they're done well and done right, because the thing that, people buy from people they know, like, and trust.
Yes.
And if they don't know you yet and they don't like you yet, they're not going to trust you yet. And a guarantee can really sort of grease the wheel of trust and be like, okay, this is low risk for me. I mean, you've got to make sure that your marketing is solid and then you're not getting jerks who are just going to show up and take advantage of your guarantee. And be, kind of dirty that way. But if your marketing is clear about you and you attract high quality people with a certain ethical or moral standard, then a guarantee can work great in your favor because you take the fear out of for them, especially for big ticket items where the investment is high. There can be like, sticker shock up front. So I offer a
Yeah.
guarantee of, we talked about this yesterday. If at the end of our onboarding session, you're not convinced that we're headed in the right direction, full money back, no questions asked, we part as friends.
Right.
And it makes, like, when I say that in a discovery call, you can just watch people's shoulders drop. They're like, okay, let's move forward. They're 95% there, but it's like that remaining 5% is like having the parking brake just jammed in the park position.
Yeah. Okay, so Marnie just said she would totally come if we talked about guarantees on another Facebook Live. So,
all right, well, you've got your next topic for next
yeah,
month.
yeah. Well, maybe not next month because we're booked out for a few more months. But Geraldine, we'll probably have to have you come back around again and do that topic, because I think it's true. Like we're afraid to offer guarantees because we're
Yep.
always afraid of the people who are going to take advantage.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, we don't want to offer them in a way that could hurt us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that could
Yep.
hurt us, right? We want to offer them in a way that, again, it becomes a win-win. Because
Yeah.
sometimes, and I've had this happen to me where somebody starts working with you and then you go, oh, this is not the right client for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you are happy to let them out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
You're like, okay, I hear you. This isn't going to work. Please take your money and find somebody else who can help you better than I can. Right. So
yeah,
I mean, I think that can be a win-win as well.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely.
So to circle back around, I think to kind of the initial, like, how do you come up with that price?
Mm-hmm.
One thing that I think we didn't touch on that I would like to before we go is the idea of when we talk about value, you know, it's easy to say if you have the kind of business where you're actually helping somebody get a financial return, then that's a lot easier to value than how do you value intangibles when you're
Mm,
calculating like what is the value of what I'm offering?
yeah. Great question. I actually answered this exact question to my email list just the other day. I have
Oh, good.
I write to my email list every single day,
Oh,
answering questions just like this.
how do
Yeah.
people get on your email list, Geraldine?
They can subscribe at my website, shethinksbigcoaching.com, or from the
Awesome.
podcast page too. Yeah, smartstrategyforcpas.com. But be
Okay.
forewarned, you get an email with great advice every day of the week. So it's
Yeah.
not for
So
everybody.
don't sign up if you don't want to hear from Geraldine every day.
Yes, definitely.
But I would like
You
to
won't
hear
like
from
it.
you every day. Okay. So go ahead and give us your
Yeah.
answer, which clearly you've already thought through.
Yeah. Yep. So the first thing is to remember that number one, just because you think it's intangible doesn't mean that it's actually intangible, right? So a lot more is tangible than you realize, especially feelings and emotions and those squishy things like stress. Tell me that you can't feel stress, right? You can feel it yourself. And you can also tell when somebody else is stressed out, right? Either by the tone of their voice or by how short they are, or if they snap at the kids or what have you. There are lots of ways to, uh, well, you can, so you can feel it more than you likely realize, right? Just because it's not tangible, where we get stuck is we think that tangible has to be uh, by the sense of touch, right? But
Yeah.
if you can perceive it, you can then observe it. And if you can observe it, then you can measure it. Where people also get stuck is, I'm so glad you asked this question because it's such an important answer, or it's a helpful answer. If you can observe it, then you can make comparisons, right? So you can think of the beauty of a lake, for example. Picture a beautiful lake in your mind. Now picture an ugly lake in your mind, right? So somehow you can compare a beautiful lake and an ugly lake. And is that valuable? That's valuable information to a real estate developer who wants to build property on the side of a lake. He's not going to want to pick the ugly one, right? So these things are valuable, and they're valuable to know for certain people. And the third piece of it is that um oh my god, I just lost my train of thought. It was right in front of me. That it's
Um,
here. No, I got it. It's that you don't have to measure things directly. Thank you for telepathing it to me.
you're
That you
welcome.
don't have to measure things directly. You can measure things indirectly, right? So going back to stress, the direct measure is drawing a vial of blood and measuring cortisol, but nobody's going to do that. You can measure stress by how much do you stress eat? Once a day, 5 times a day, or never, right? How often do you reach? How many times do you put your hand in the cookie jar as a measure of stress, if that's what you do? How many times do you, if you need to like go watch video games to unplug, how often do you do that? Right. So indirect measures can be just as useful as direct measures. So don't get caught in the like, how do I measure stress? They're like, measure it indirectly if you can observe it and you're good.
Well, the other thing that I like to do is just give people a scale and
Yep.
say on a scale of 1 to 10, 10
Mhm.
being out of my mind stressed and 1 being not at all, how how stressed do you feel on a daily basis? Okay? You could ask that 1 to 10. And let's say they get to a number, they're at a 9.
Mhm.
And then the question becomes, if we could make changes in your life or your business, or, whatever it is that you do, if we could change that and get you from a 9 to a 3, what would that be worth to you?
Mhm. Yep.
Right.
And then they'll rattle off, right? Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. I could sleep at night. If I could sleep at night, what would that be worth? Oh, I'd be able to focus during the day. Oh my God, my wife would be
Right.
so happy because I wouldn't be so stressed out all the time.
I wouldn't snap at the kids or the dog
Mhm.
or,
Yep.
yeah. So, and that's how you get, in a lot of ways, that's how you show the value, and it's how you see the value when they start
Yeah.
rattling off all the ways their life will be better, when that intangible
Mhm.
thing goes from a
Mhm.
fire alarm 10 to a very calm lake 1,
Yep.
whatever it is, frustration, stress, happiness, satisfaction, whatever you want to measure, when it gets to the place where they want it to be, and you see how it impacts their life, you can say to yourself, well, what would that be worth to me? Right?
Mhm.
You can ask them, what is that worth to you? But you start to see, is this something they would really value
Mhm.
and would get a return on? So for example, if you follow like that pathway, well, if I wasn't so stressed, I could sleep better at night. If I could sleep better at night, I could focus better at work. If I could focus better at work, I would be more productive. If I could be more productive, I could sell twice as much of whatever. And suddenly you've gotten to a monetary value.
Yep. Yeah, there you go. And now you've got some, that's how you convert. That was beautiful. That's how you convert stress to actual dollars.
Exactly. What is that worth? That's worth a lot to some people.
Yeah.
And usually it is the intangibles that create the value.
Yeah. Because we make emotional decisions.
We absolutely do, no matter how logical we think we
Yeah.
are.
And then we backfill with logic.
Exactly. 100% correct.
Yep. Then we justify the decision.
We do. And that is how everybody's brains work, no matter how much you don't want to believe it. It's how
Yep.
all of our brains work. So
Yep.
so tap into those emotions and you'll see the value. So hopefully this was helpful for people in trying to figure out what pricing model to use and how to start to put a value on what you sell. I will say this, when I started my jewelry company, I thought that the value was like the price, the cost of
Mhm.
the
Yeah.
materials,
Yeah.
and then we double it or whatever, and that's what we sell it for. And I had no
Mhm.
clue what I was doing.
Yeah. Most of us don't
And
when we start.
oops, forgot to value my time.
Yeah. Again. Yes.
That's the other thing when we're calculating our break evens. Make sure you put the value of your time into that.
Mhm.
And break even is not like, oh, I will have zero, like everything evens out to zero, because you're not breaking even because you haven't been compensated for your time. And why should you include your compensation for your time in there? Because if you had to pay somebody else to do it, that would be part of your cost.
Right. The point of running your business is for you to make money.
Yes. There are other reasons, right? Like we all have our passion and our
Yes. Yes.
purpose. But if you're doing it as a business and not as a, charity,
Hobby or a jobby.
right? Then yes, absolutely. You only have a business if you're pricing to make money. So, okay, I would love to see. I know most people are gone by now because we've been going for so long, but I would love to just know of the people who are here, what, if anything, did you take away that you're going to use to make some changes in your pricing, or is going to help you create pricing that makes better sense for you or your business? I'm hoping. So, and while we're waiting for people to comment, Erin says, this has been awesome. Thank you so much. My wheels are really turning. So that's great. And Adam says, I guess Marnie gave, Marnie gave him some advice about subscriptions. And so he thanked Marnie. And then he also wants to thank you, Geraldine, for sharing your knowledge. And let's see if there's anything else. Yeah, so Adam was thinking, even though his current clients are mostly consumers, like the end user, he could do some sort of subscription to share his knowledge with builders.
Hmm.
And that might actually benefit his business if he gets a lot of business through builders, right?
Mhm.
So that's not like something that would actually detract from your business, but it would help the builders, make the process of bringing in a woodworker
Mhm.
easier,
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
there's a lot of potential in there.
Absolutely. So okay, so Adam says that continue to focus on adding value to clients with our thoughts and products. Okay, so that's what Adam's taking away. And Marnie says,
Cool.
finding the value my clients would put on my services. And that
Yeah.
really is, I think that is the heart of it.
Yep.
Remembering that it's not about looking at your competitors and saying, like,
Mm-mm.
I have to price based on what my competitors are doing. It's about what you are doing for your clients.
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think that's the perfect place to end this.
Excellent. Good. Well, this has been really
Geraldine,
fun.
this is always fun. And I could keep going for hours, but I don't know how much of an audience we would have if we were still here, at dinner time, at breakfast time.
Well, I
So
would just need to go fill up my wine glass if we were going to go that long.
yeah. Okay. So maybe next time. But
Next time.
stay tuned, everybody. We'll be doing another Facebook Live with another awesome pumpkin plant strategist next month. So keep your eye out for that announcement. And thank you again, Geraldine. And for anybody who only saw part of this session, the recording will be in the group. So you'll be able to just go in. I'll pin it to the top as an announcement. So you should be able to just go to the group and see it at the top of the page, and you can rewatch it or watch the parts that you missed. So I am going to try to remember how to end this now. Back to the technology. Stop live stream. Okay, I'm going to click stop live stream now. Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.